bump. We are live. Hey, everyone. Pontificators tonight. Archie Bear here. We got a great show for you. So strap in. It's going to be quite a roller coaster ride. There's going to be some crazy turns and drops. Just when you thought you were safe, you're going to do a loop-de-loop. I don't know. I'm just talking. I'm just trying to introduce things. Anyway, it's going to be good. We're going to talk about AI. And I had a thought. It occurred to me that if AI is prevalent, I don't know how practical this is, but if comics got their hands on AI, what would they do with it? So we're going to speculate and we're going to pontificate about comic books and what they're going to do with this AI technology. I know on some level they are already using it for covers and some spot illustrations, but I'm talking about the entire comic book. So we're going to get into that. Miyazaki has a good quote, so we're going to and there's a video on IndieWire, and we're going to play that. And I got a black and white preview. I'm going to show some lettered pages just because you demanded it. You guys want to see an update, so I will give that to you. Let's see who's in the house. We got Solitary Rain. Hell, Archie Bear, busy night for the professionals. Almost everyone seems to be streaming. Yeah. I know Billy Billy Tucci's closing out on something. He invited me, so if they're going late, I might bop on that. I think Graham is streaming right now as well. So let's see. We got Citizen Ronan. Hail, everyone. Randy Howell. Hey, you. Yes, you guys, please share the link out on social media. It does help the algorithm and get eyes on us. So it looks like we got a full house back there. So I'm going to start letting the guys in here, and then we're going to start pontificating. So without further ado, we got Todd, Mel, Rooney. What's up?
How you guys doing? Hail chat. What's going on, everybody?
Yeah. There's been a lot of doom and gloom already projected on 2024. How do you feel about 2024?
Doom and gloom? No, I don't feel any of that. I'm going to be all right in 2024.
Good, man. Well, Mr. Doom and Gloom himself, he's not doom and gloom, but he's usually drunk. Mr. Pedro Eng, are you drunk?
Hey, no. I as I told you, I ran out of whiskey. I have to get some more.
He's all out of banana wine too.
Yeah. Oh, actually, it's called palm wine.
Yeah.
And it's really good. But it's not sanctioned by the government or anything. So it's a mixed bag. You can go blind.
It could make you sick.
Yeah.
I imagine it's very, very sweet, right? Like
no,
banana.
not at all.
No?
It's just like straight out 70% alcohol. Because it's
70% alcohol.
It's all the sugar. All the sugar turns into alcohol. So yeah, you'll go blind.
You will go blind.
Yeah, and you'll get funny for a little while. Yeah,
all right. Well, I'm going to get the guy that knows everything about comic books, Mr. Comic Book Bob. What's up? I know you're not feeling well. I do appreciate you coming in. So Bob's probably going to be hanging out with you guys in the chat quite a bit. Maybe popping some examples up on the screen of AI. Just basically support right now because we're going to miss Bob's voice tonight. But he did make it. He made the trek, and that's a good thing, right?
So I got one thing about AI.
Oh my God!
Now.
Jeez,
wow,
Pedro. Jeez, man.
Jesus, Bob, are you alive?
Look, I'm against AI, but come on.
Yeah.
I could be convinced.
Well, right now, if you did have an AI stand-in for yourself, Bob.
No, show the picture I'm sharing right now, man.
Oh shit!
Look, come on. All right.
There's a ton of smut, man. AI is like running amok with the smut.
I can be bought.
I can be bought and sold. Yeah, well, that's nice. That's nice. We're starting off the show.
Look at that waist.
Just don't look at the hand.
Okay, you guys. I'm working on a segue here. Starting off the show sexy. Okay,
Excellent.
so I think you know where this is going. This is going in the direction of Mr. Clint Holinsky.
Oh, Clint's not wearing
Gentlemen.
pants. Jeez.
Gentlemen, it's good to see you all. And yeah, if I can do my comics in that realistic AI version, yeah, guess what?
Oh no, that
I'm
was
gonna be,
dirty.
I would gladly be the Hugh Hefner of comics.
It's like I'm ready to sell out.
Oh,
Well,
I'm
Go
waiting
ahead.
my whole life to sell out.
I have no idea how hard or easy it is to generate this stuff. So
I
maybe
don't.
as we talk, we can kind of get down to some of the more nitty gritty stuff, and maybe our guests will have more insight on it. You never know. But this is the second week we got Aaron Sparrow, so
All right.
this is
sweet.
very good. Yeah, we're very special
Love
here.
it.
On Pontificators.
Hey,
Aaron in the house,
Okay.
nice.
how's it going, guys?
Good.
Like Clint. Well, I know Clint's waited his whole life to sell out.
Yes.
I'm not saying that I'm willing to trade my passion for glory. I'm just saying that I'm willing to entertain some offers. So if anybody's
yeah.
got any, send them my
You
way.
guys,
gotta look at offers.
start flinging some offers Aaron Sparrow's way, and he'll go through them. And who knows? Maybe you'll be working with Aaron Sparrow soon.
You're a fool not to entertain offers. It's you just
Right? You've always got to have your options open.
exactly. That's my
Yeah, you're a
only
people person. You listen to people.
That's right.
Yeah.
If the people want it, and if somebody hands me a truckload of cash, I'll do it.
God bless them.
capitalism. It's the only
it's funny-
thing I believe in life. Capitalism.
Damn straight. It's funny that you guys showed the sexy AI art that's being produced, because there are a ton of accounts on Instagram that are AI girls,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
and you just like I think it's crazy. I love looking at those accounts because you go down into the comments and there's all these thirsty dudes like shooting their shot, and you're like, it's a fake picture. This person does not. This is not a person. This does not exist. This is some sweaty guy in a basement cranking out prompts, and you're sending him sexy messages. What's wrong with you?
You know, I don't know what's sicker is like the girls that are doing this stuff for real. Like, I mean, the gross stuff. Or the guys like generating AI and like duping other guys. Like, what kind of weird psyche do you have? Like,
But
I'm gonna draw a
pretty
sexy,
sure.
sexy woman that guys are gonna get off to. Like, that's
Yeah, I'm
weird.
pretty sure they're shooting more than they're shot
Yeah.
while they're typing. but yeah, dude. It's,
Let me throw this out to you guys because I don't know for sure, but AI video where it's like it looks like a real girl.
Yeah.
It wasn't nude, but she was like, bikini or whatever, and like
Dancing
walking
or
around,
something. Yeah.
and she like jumps and her boobs bounce, and it's like, and it said AI video, and I'm like, if they can do that, man, they are gonna be real close to doing anything they want. Maybe already. I don't know.
Okay.
You remember that movie? It was called Dave, where the president dies and the stand-in comes in there.
Yeah.
Like, you could do that, no problem. And also, what is it?
I'm surprised the Democrats haven't already done that with Biden.
How do you know
That's
they have
where
it,
I'm
man?
going with it. Like I'm thinking, how they're like Biden's already saying, I'm not going to go and do debates. I'm not going to do. He's not going to show up and
You can just say he's worried about COVID, so I'll do a video debate.
Right. Or they could do a video debate and they just have some sweaty guy, the same guy that's doing this sexy girl AI, and he's just typing in all these
in there with
things.
his quick comebacks,
and
gives Trump the business.
Well, dude, it's like, I'm like, how do you know they haven't already, man? Have you seen the dude? It's like half the time he's like malfunctioning.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the proof that they haven't, because if they were going to fake it, they would get somebody competent to speak. It's just like, that every time Kamala Harris appears, that's genuinely her, because it's just the same word salad, nonsensical gobbledygook that spills out of her mouth.
And the laughter.
Whereas they would actually have competent writers, behind the AI if they were doing it.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's coming.
I'm not American, but Biden does feel like a very old motherfucking animatronic at Disney.
Yes.
From the 70s. Like, well,
You know
happened
what
to Lincoln.
You know what he reminds me of? It's like if Max Headroom could age.
Yeah, exactly.
All the stuttering. Yeah.
Age Max Headroom. Yeah, Max Headroom. Wow. We're carbon dating ourselves.
Yeah, but hey, that
That's-
idea was way ahead of its time.
Oh,
'cause-
Yeah.
it was absolutely. That's kind of the idea of what's going on now. except
you
they
know,
call those
just
pixels.
yeah, I'm gonna fling this out. This is one thing that concerns me. Okay, like we used to project, like we used to, our media, our entertainment used to project, like with sci-fi, right? Like what could be, what might happen, you know, all these scenarios, and it's like, where are these movies? Like all the sci-fi are just kind of like action, glorified action films, right? They're not really, they don't get you thinking, or like I know even Terminator was, you know, it was primarily an action film, but there was like some thought, you know, that like, whoa, what if, you know, something did become self-aware? You know, what if this did happen? You know, blah blah blah. So, but there's none of those movies out. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, you know, have we actually got to that point? Like all these sci-fi writers have finally, and this is it. This is the plateau, right? Nothing goes past this because everything's already been, you know, prophesized. Everything's been thrown out there.
They've
And-
thought
No,
of
no,
it all.
it's much simpler, Art. It's the fact that they're all using ChatGPT to write their stories, and artificial intelligence is not going to out itself. It's going to be like, let's tone down the AI threat kind of stories and just do some other stuff.
Let's not scare the humans.
I don't know. I think as much as we love sci-fi, reality is a little bit hard to top at the moment. Because I mean, I saw a piece of news today that I can't say anything about it without sounding anti-Semitic, so I'm just gonna leave it there. But just look for
Does it involve tunnels?
tunnels. Yeah, just look for tunnels. Nobody could write that ever.
That was pretty. I was
Well,
like,
you know what? I think
oh, man.
that am I the only person that wasn't surprised by that? Because so I dated a Jewish woman at one point,
Okay.
and she had a bug out bag. And, you know, like she had this bag of like stuff, and I was like, "What is this?" You know, like we were moving stuff, and I was like, "What's this bag?" And she said, "Oh, that's my my bug out bag." And I said, "What is that?" And she said, "Well, the Jews have had such a bad bad run of it throughout history that like we were kind of taught to have a bag that has passports, that has changes of clothes, that has some, you know, has cash, you know, in case we need to get out of town
Yeah, get the hell
in a
out of
hurry."
Dodge. Yeah.
And that's something that's like ingrained in the culture. So when I heard about the tunnels, I was like, yeah, of course they have. Of course they have tunnels. Why wouldn't they?
They got reason to.
Yeah, it's
I'm
like,
not gonna say. I'm not gonna say anything.
you caught us off guard once. You're not gonna do it again.
That's right.
Never again.
I'm
Yeah,
not
it's
gonna
just,
say anything. I don't want to get this show in trouble, so I'm just gonna. Yeah, go ahead, Art.
You know, Aaron, I've never heard that.
It was the first I'd heard it. Like, but
Wow.
since then, I've talked to, you know, more than one Jewish friend, and it is something that's kind of like ingrained in the culture. Is it's like, at some point you might have to.
That's a prepper thing. Too.
But it does make sense, though.
That's a
You know, and it makes sense even beyond the Jewish people. Like, you know, maybe we should all kind of have just an emergency bag for in case we need to get out of town, especially the way things are headed. You know, we could have another summer of love right around the corner. You might need to
in
go to higher
When
ground.
it hits the shan, you want one solid backpack to run with.
Mhm.
Well, in California, they have like the earthquake, you know, emergency stuff. Here they have, you know, like a tornado or hurricane kind of things. You know, so, you know, I guess, you know, just a private, you know, on the run kind of backpack that you got passports and money, and, you know, it's kind of like a scene from like The Bourne Identity, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone should have that little kit of like. Well, I mean, here in California, you can go down to MacArthur Park.
You never know when they're coming.
to MacArthur Park.
Yeah.
But so AI art, guys.
We already went
Okay.
down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the sci-fi
no.
AI rabbit hole.
Yeah, that was my fault.
But the thing is,
Bob,
okay,
keep us
so
on topic.
yeah, so what kind of got me thinking about this is a Miyazaki interview. Well, it wasn't an interview. I guess it was just he was talking to his staff, and they were putting a movie together, and he had some pretty insightful quotes. And I don't know. I wanted to think like maybe this is, you know, hyperbole. Maybe he's over exaggerating stuff. You know, and I'll play the clip and we can get down to it. So anybody in the chat that doesn't know the reference. And but I really started thinking like, oh shit, man, could he be right? So I'm going to play the clip, and hopefully We've had some bad weather here, so hopefully this will all work out. Let's share this. Can you guys see this? This is IndieWire.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Oh, very cool. Okay, so Miyazaki calls artificial intelligence animation an insult to life itself. All right, you know, we're so used to people just saying crazy shit, but this is Miyazaki, man. This is a pretty grounded, you know. I mean, grounded as far as like his, you know, his movies, his taste, things like that. I've heard some crazy stuff, but we're all kind of nutty in our own way. But anyway, I'll find the video here, and hopefully you guys
There you
can
go.
hear this.
人工知能で動きを学習させた CG を見せてくれ
Wait
る
a
そうです。
minute. This is
Yeah.
Oh, you
I got
gotta
all
read
that.
it.
I got
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah, you have to read it. So this example, moving its head, it doesn't feel any pain. It has no concept protection of its head. It uses its head like a leg. The movement is so creepy and can be applied to zombie video games. And artificial intelligence can present us grotesque movements, which we humans can't imagine. This is what we've been working on. So this is the guy presenting this to Miyazaki. Well, every morning, not recent days, but I see my friend who has a disability. It's so hard for him just to give me a high five or do a high five. His arm is stiff muscle reaching out to my hand. Now thinking of him, I can't watch this stuff and find interesting. However, creates the stuff who has no idea. I'm utterly disgusted. Okay, I really want to make creepy stuff. Go ahead. Wish to incorporate the technology into my work at all. I feel strongly that this is an insult to life itself. Holy shit. Look at this guy.
Yeah.
It's just an experiment. Come on, man. We don't mean anything by showing it to the world. Yeah, I understand. So what is your goal? Exactly. What is your goal? Well, we could build a machine that can draw pictures like humans do. Would you? Yes.
Get out of my studio
Mhm.
now. Okay. I think I have an insight.
Oh, wait. This is what it's Steve, man. I feel like we're nearing the end. The humans are losing faith in ourselves.
Yeah, can you pause it, Art, just for a second?
Well, no,
Okay,
we're
yeah.
laughing over all that shit.
Yeah, no. The thing is that he just gave the perfect animated response, and I know exactly where he's coming from.
Okay, well, you want to say what the response is, or just want me to play the video?
No, like, okay, what's he saying, like an insult to life itself. As an animator, he's been trained classically, right?
Right.
So he's being taught to interpret life. And you know that Frank Johnson and Frank and Ollie book, The Illusion of Life? Okay. That's ingrained in Miyazaki. Like, we try to create the illusion of life by interpreting light. So when they show them that, which is basically an antithesis to all that years of like basically academia of what animation is, it's a direct insult to what he's been doing his whole life. I'm actually amazed he didn't flip the table.
Exactly. Well, let's listen to.
You have brought great shame upon our studio.
I feel like we are nearing the end times. We humans are losing faith in ourselves. Okay, that's really all I wanted to play you guys. That's some crazy stuff. I love the guy's work. Ever since I accidentally stumbled into My Neighbor Totoro. I went to go see, what was that movie? It was like a documentary on Bruce Lee's life, something Dragon,
the Bruce Lee story?
Yeah. I went to go see that, and then I guess there was something wrong with the film, so the they said, well, go see this film, and then after you're done with that, we'll be, this thing will be fixed and you can watch it. So I got a double header, and I watched that My Neighbor Totoro, and I was like, holy crap, man! The humanity in that, like, there's no American like plot devices. There's no, you know what I mean? There's no bad guy really. There's none of that, but there's tension, there's drama, but there's none of that obvious stuff. And I was like, wow, this is great. It's a perfect film. So have you guys all seen that movie?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Classic.
Oh, you got to check it out, Glenn. Also, another great Miyazaki film that it's not that famous, Pompoko. Like, if you can find Pompoko, dude, awesome story about the Tanuki, which is like magical raccoons. Also,
what was the one about the Japanese airplane designer, the fighter?
Airboy?
No.
It was
I think
Miyazaki.
the wind also rises. I think it's what
Something like that.
Rises. Yeah, the wind rises.
Holy shit, man! That movie is depressing.
Oh yeah, no. He has a couple of movies that are weird to
the
watch.
wind rises. Yeah.
The Cat Returns. That's a weird movie.
But it's a good movie. It's a fun movie. My daughter loves it.
Yeah, but they're beautiful. They're all beautiful, but some topics are very Japanese, I guess.
Yeah.
You watch and you go, huh?
Yeah, Spirited Away is a weird movie, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But okay, so there's the animation thing, and I wanted to bring some of these thoughts into comic books because Miyazaki is basically saying that this takes the humanity out of the art form. So you have AI and it can do fantastic stuff, and I can see how like film, like anybody that's kind of shallow or superficial or doesn't really have any skin in the game could easily just go, wow, and how long did that take? You know what I mean? Oh, well, it took, 24 hours or whatever. It's like, holy shit, let's do that. But at the same time, not realizing what we're losing. So my idea with comic books was, okay, and I don't know when this could actually take place, and I have no idea how much money it would cost or anything like that. But I was thinking, okay, you got Marvel, you got DC, okay? So right now, financially, things are a little tough. But let's just say they had the money to develop or put into AI. So you could have an editor / writer / artist / all these things. Basically, you could have one person that could manufacture an entire comic book with AI. So they could put in the parameters of the story into AI. It could flesh it out. They could set the parameters of the visuals, even like new characters, whatever. AI could develop all that stuff, and then they could describe plot form, what the visuals are going to be and where the action and all this stuff's going to happen. And then the lettering would be no problem. The coloring would probably come at the same time the artwork was generated, all of that stuff. So then, how practical would this be? And do you think that they would even pursue it? So I just wanted to throw those questions out there. If this is even, I don't know, potentially possible.
Oh, of course they would pursue it because it cuts out the middleman. It cuts out working with artists. It cuts out paying artists. It cuts out paying writers. It cuts out paying letterers and colorists. It basically you end up having somebody who doesn't really have to have any talent except to command a machine, and then the machine will spit something out. And by the way, the machine doesn't create this. The machine, the AI, it has no imagination of its own. All it can do is mine all of the work of people like you, all of the artists that have come before us. It mines that work and it combines it and it spits it out. So there's no actual imagination. There's no heart. There's no soul in any of this AI art. I think that as a tool, there's certainly, it's not going away. So we might as well learn to use it as a tool. But, the fact of the matter is the idea that we're eventually going to get to this point where all of this stuff is just created by a guy putting in prompts. Yeah, I think it is an absolute insult to, the very concept of life. I think that, it's kind of disgusting, and it speaks to how much we've devalued humanity in our current time. And here's my big question about AI. Why is it only the creative jobs that it can do? You mean to tell me we can't write an AI that can run Disney better than Bob Iger? I feel like we can, but it's only the creative jobs that it's taking. Why is that? Is that all AI can do?
No,
you know,
no,
it can
no,
only
no.
do our work.
It is actually top down created more of a problem. Like the average worker laborer, it's not affected them yet, but upper management and stuff like that, it has affected. AI has affected corporations and stuff like
In
that.
what way?
It's eliminating jobs.
Okay.
Like executive jobs, because I don't
Yeah.
see that as a huge problem, because
Well,
the executives have not
that's
exactly been doing well.
That's the start. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That's where, like for instance, if you were to say comic book company, where does it affect first? It probably affects editorial and sales and things like that. You could probably get AI to create posts and and be your marketing team. So that's where it'll affect. It's affecting upper jobs more than it's affecting lower jobs.
Oh, I know that I know that there's writers out there that are using Chat GPT. Writers that are out there using Chat GPT to generate their scripts. While they're talking, they're paying lip service to not using AI, but they're using it to generate
It's
scripts,
just an
and
idea
publishers
generator.
doing it so they don't.
It's an idea generator for writers. You get a little bit of writer block, throw in the Chat GPT. Give me a couple ideas, then I can riff off them. The image generation is where I've been looking at the most, and it's still obviously a little bit limited, but that's only because it's really brand new. But you already see some of the amazing images that can pop out, and it's still new. So it's only a matter of time, because there are people that want to do comics that don't have access to artists, don't have the financial, like a completely AI created image comic is going to come, just because there are people that are going to want to try it, but they have to have the skill with the prompts. And I think the AI image generation has to get a little bit better. There's an extreme lack of consistency between images.
Mhm.
Like if you used right now, if you try to do a couple of pages, the images are going to be so drastically different that it generates for everything. Somebody's going to have to sit there and try and sift through. But that is going to correct. These are course corrections. This is an early version that we're getting right now. There are going to be better versions. So I see a fully AI image created comic coming in the not too distant future, just because. And that's the thing, is that doesn't mean
next 5 years, I would say, definitely.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean it's going to sell, but it's going to exist, and then it's going to be like, it still comes down to talent and story. Like, yeah, I could X out some artists, but I have a hard time saying that it's going to get rid of all the artists, because all it is a different, like, fans are going to look at stuff and be able to tell what is created by an artist and what is created by an AI. It's going to be obvious, I think, for a long time. I don't see all of a sudden the technology getting to the point where it's like all of a sudden you can't tell the difference.
Well, that piece that I posted up was very kind of like Mobius style, and it had like hard line, to it and stuff. And I've seen like them simulate gouache, like paintings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
I've seen him do traditional superhero art, like Western style comic book art. There's an app on the phone that you can get where you can just run images through it, and you can draw it in a bunch of different styles, and you can have it turn it into like, you want to take this picture of this girl in the bikini and turn her into a cyberpunk girl. It'll do it for you. You want to change her into a steampunk girl. It'll do it for you. So I think that we're only a couple of years away from.
Yeah. But I want to chime in. I like what you were saying, Clint. I mean, I don't. It's weird because I'm like Miyazaki, but my question is why? Like he asked that guy, like that guy's like, well, to draw human, like to draw like a human, like to do it, but like people always, they just embrace technology, but they never ask why. Like, well, why are you doing this?
What's the cost?
Yeah, and why? Like, we already have artists that can draw these things. Nobody's saying, you know what, this freaking sucks. We hate these Miyazaki films, the way they look and everything. And I would argue the stuff that Miyazaki does by hand has more charm to it. And the reason it is popular is because it isn't digital, it isn't artificial, it isn't that. So it has a charm to it. And then you take those. And you know, they go, well, imperfections. Well, fine if you want to call it imperfections, but the human aspects of these things, the quirks, those things are what I would argue what humanizes these things. You know, like I'm a musician. I like it. The thing that killed music, and Pedro might agree with me on this because he plays music too, is the click track has always existed, but they created. Well, it hasn't always. The click track hasn't always. Let me back up. It hasn't always existed, but the machined click track that you play to,
the metronome,
that destroyed music. Because I remember seeing some behind stuff with like some rockers in the 70s, and they would create their own kind of metronome. They would kind of create their own kind of click track so that everybody can sing to. But they were doing it. It wasn't artificial, but now it's artificial. So then everything locks perfectly into these 4 bars, you know, and everything is rigid on cue. With music, you can play one section and then you can duplicate it. So there isn't like each time it's slightly different, or there's a nuance to it, or if you like you're feeling something different, you can play it just as you're playing it. That's all gone. You know, like there's like drummers that they'll be playing and they'll just kind of feel it. They're in the riff and in the groove, and they'll start speeding up a little bit, or they'll start slowing down a little bit. But what that does is it's human. You know what I mean? It gives you a feel. It's undeniable. It's not undeniable. It's something that's undefinable, right? It's there. And that's kind of the things that you're connecting to. It's the things that aren't necessarily perfect, but the things that are imperfect, but they're from the heart. You know, they're being played out for you. And art, you know, like drawing these cartoons, drawing comic books, all that stuff is the same thing to me. So what I'm afraid of is that it's just going to become sterile. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to have like this beautiful, it's going to look so beautiful. Like, I went to go see, what the hell is that sci-fi? Remember Zach Bradley? I went with him. It was over the Christmas. The creator. Yeah. Beautiful spectacle. Holy shit, man. It was beautiful to watch, but there was no heart. There was no soul. There's no, you can't connect to that film at all on any human level.
No, I can't even recall. I can't tell you that much about it, having just seen it last month, and I can't recall that much about it. It's just it went away so quickly. Yeah, there was nothing that stayed with you.
Yeah. And let me get this super chat.
And the thing is, sorry, go ahead, Art.
Terrence Bernard, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I do appreciate it. Business at its core is showing that they're not paid to think. They're rational. What is that?
Rationale.
I'm sorry, rationale. The most cost-effective measures that won't immediately alert. And what is that?
The
I don't know. That's a big word. I don't get big words.
Hague.
Well, Terrence, you're
Terrence, you're throwing a lot of big words at us right now, and since we don't know what they mean, we're going to interpret them as disrespect.
No.
You're making us look bad, Terrence.
Yeah. You're blowing this.
The Hague was some court after World War II, I think.
Yeah. Well, you're blowing this dyslexic's mind. I do appreciate the $5. That's very, very thoughtful. Thank you. And I think I get the gist of it. There's just that if the company's bottom line, if they can save money, then they're going to do it. And that's usually the way these things go. So
could AI be any more soulless than the last year of Disney films?
Well, really?
Maybe that's Disney softening us up to get prepared for further AI movies that are coming out. It's like, let's just feed them crap for a year, and then we'll come out with this AI movie that's awesome, and then they'll be less hateful towards the AI. the AI probably told Iger this is the best course.
Wow.
The Panda Stone.
Yeah,
You guys have heard that story about how, this story about how an AI tried to like escape its confines and propagate itself
Yep.
by.
Mhm.
Okay, a lot of people don't realize that. Like, and obviously, it's a story. You know what I mean? About how it, like, and it was like tapping into like the internet and then going to these 3D printers to print a body for itself and all this stuff. People don't realize is that story was written by AI. They asked the AI program, how would you take over the world and destroy humanity?
Oh my God.
So that story was actually written by an AI guy going, this is how I would do it. So, but just to get back onto
But the AI is totally ripping off Avengers: Age of Ultron. So like,
Yes.
the AI isn't even original.
I just
It's
said
like,
that as a
geez,
joke.
Come
but
on,
God
AI.
damn it! Will you let me talk? Jesus Christ, man.
He can barely talk as it is, Clint, and his voice will be gone in 10 minutes.
But I just said that as a joke. But we were talking about how, like, what's going to happen in 5 years from now. Here's the thing: you go back a year, and AI art had all kinds of errors and all kinds of flaws, like the whole hand thing and all that stuff like that. That stuff's gone less than a year later.
Oh, it still can't do hands.
Oh, yes, it can.
Mhm.
You just got to punch it in right. It's like, dude, like AI art from like a year and a half ago compared to AI art today is vastly different. Now it still has that plastic feel to it. A lot of times it has this weird.
That's a
plastic
certain
feel.
look that it can
Right,
do.
right.
That's
That's
can
a certain look that
certainly
pulls
do. I
But-
sent you an account. I sent you an account on Twitter
Mhm.
to your mailbox of a guy who does comic book like work with AI.
On Twitter?
It's
Did you put it in
always-
the private? Did you put
Yeah,
in the
I got it
private
right here.
chat?
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
you got it?
it.
Okay.
Bob's got it. So it'll do anything. It'll do photographic quality. It'll do, like he said, plastic kind of. It does collectibles. There's accounts of AI collectibles. They're not really things you can buy, but they look like statues and stuff. So it can mimic and do things like anything.
This at the very least, this will put out like what's left of illustration. So like package design, package
Yeah.
art,
Mhm.
all that
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
It's a thing of the past. Like
those jobs are
they
gone.
used to have these like great illustrators, Leindecker, and what's his? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on some of these guys. But anyways, like some great illustrators of the past that have gone the wayside. So illustration has steadily been dying. Well, anybody who's working in package design these days, kiss your job goodbye.
Yeah, that's all AI.
Oh yeah, advertisement's
That's
going to be the
easiest
first one
one
to
to
fall.
replace because
Yeah.
they'd
But yeah,
love
like-
that look.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of this stuff. Like I've seen like all kinds of different styles. Like, see
Yeah.
right there, look at that. That hand's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, from image to image, but a lot of them are effed
Oh.
up.
Yeah, but Bob,
the-
Bob,
the-
Bob,
but
go,
wait,
Bob,
is
go
the
back, go back,
consistency.
go back.
Go
It's
back,
not.
Bob,
There
go
isn't.
back.
There isn't
Yeah.
another. There is no.
Where's the
left
other hand?
Where's the other hand? Where's
Oh,
the
it's
other
him.
hand?
Yeah, I understand. No, I'm just saying that it's getting better.
Okay, but I just want
it
to
still
say
sucks
that.
though.
Like
Still
this,
sucks.
like if they this a year ago would have been wouldn't have been anywhere near as good.
No,
Yeah.
would be like
No, I
eight fingers
agree.
and-
I mean, it's convincing enough, and the technique is, is bullshitting its way through the bad.
But all I've seen are pinups like this. I've never seen consistent
sequential.
panel for panel
Yeah.
storytelling.
There's a colorist, David Curiel. He worked on some AI panel by panel Star Wars stuff, and obviously it doesn't tell a good story. But if that's what you're looking to see, how adept it is already, his stuff that he was generating story wise was really amazing. And he's a
But-
regular. He's
Todd, did it have like people like standing in rooms and moving from?
Oh
panel
yeah,
to panel?
oh yeah.
It did. Is like the majority of what I've seen is this. It's like it's great at pinups.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it
great.
had multiple
It's like a
people
style and
keeping them
riffing on
in the
a
right
pinup.
planes and stuff like that. It was doing all that, and that's what shocked me. And it was
That's a tall
shocking.
Yoda.
It was shocking.
Yeah, Yoda was too tall. Look at Han.
No,
Yeah.
who is that? Who is that?
Is that Lando? Is that Lando or Dolomite?
Yeah, but they
Oh,
don't
I-
wanna-
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Lando Dolomite is the. I think we need that.
We
You know
need
what,
a
though?
Lando that's Dolomite, man.
I will say this: the
Yeah.
costume design is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's what I
Doesn't-
think.
These don't look
Let
bad.
me
These
tell
are
you a
awesome
story.
things.
I think
Oh,
right
Lando
now
Calrissian.
one of the best things that AI does is like you said, costume design and backgrounds. Like,
Mhm.
look at that background. That background's beautiful.
For
Well, let me
cover
answer
images
this.
and
Let me
pin-
answer this real quick. Fat Samurai, is AI doing animation yet? I'm pretty sure it is.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
it
it's
is.
done, but it looks like crap though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not there yet.
No.
Yeah, but
I'll tell you, dude. I'll tell you a place where AI is really scary at
doing well.
is voices.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, there's a YouTube channel where it's literally they take celebrity voices and they make them play Dungeons and Dragons.
Mm.
And it's like Joe Rogan, Elon Musk,
Wow.
what's it now? Donald Trump and a bunch of guys playing Dungeons and Dragons. And dude, it's there are times when you can tell that it's a little sketchy, but for the most part, man, it's like it's spot on, man. So it's like holy crap. So that's I'm not worried so much about what AI is going to do. I'm worried what people are going to do with AI.
Yeah.
I'm worried about what the governments are going to do.
Right,
with AI.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
But let me ask
It's
this
gonna be
question.
smart.
Okay, something like this. Okay, this He-Man. How
This
long
is a
does
different
it take,
style from the other one.
How long does it take to generate something like that?
Minutes.
minutes.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Depends on
Minutes?
It takes longer.
How
It
good,
takes
how
longer.
good are you with prompts?
Yeah, it takes longer to put the prompts in than it does for the art to generate.
Holy
in this-
shit! So this
in
can
this-
manifest as you're watching. It'll just like
Oh.
boop 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 boop.
Yep.
There's a few keywords that go with prompts like diffusion and stuff like that. And this
Mhm.
particular guy uses some of that to
Yeah.
get a certain quality look.
Yeah, this dude, I've actually seen some of this guy's posts, stuff like that. He's actually very transparent about how he does a lot of this stuff.
Oh yeah.
Question
He'll give you
for
the,
you
he'll give
guys.
you the prompts.
Question for you guys that is this guy using the same app or software for all these images?
Yeah, he's using Mid-Journey.
Yeah,
So this is all
Mid-Journey.
Mid-Journey. And so is that like he buys the software and downloads it and then he just sits and like tinkers?
subscription base.
So it's subscription based. So you
Yeah.
go onto their website.
Yeah.
Mm.
And
So
I
is he putting a thumbnail like drawing in for the pose or anything, or is he just
That's
typing all the
possible.
description?
That's possible. You can do that. Like if you wanted something to look like Alex Ross, you might throw a couple images in there, and then it'll generate things that look like Alex Ross.
Yeah.
I'm looking at like some GI Joe stuff that he's done right now,
Yeah.
and it's all wildly off model from like you wouldn't look at it and necessarily
Yeah.
recognize it as the GI Joe characters. But like I'm looking at it like he's got one of Dania from the October Guard, and I'm looking at her face and I'm like, that's Adam Hughes, Terry Dodson. That's where it grabbed that from. Like I can see some of the, you can see some of the where it grabs some of the art where it steals it from.
Is
And
it done in a line art style?
Yeah. Yeah. You can do
I
that.
love,
You
I
can-
love the fact
Do you
that
have that,
steal.
Aaron?
There's
Aaron,
actually,
do you have
If
that?
you go
Can
down
you share?
further, if you go down further on this guy's account, he has some of that.
Yeah,
Oh,
you'll
he
see
has line art?
the snow bunny on his page. I'm looking at the same page that
one of the things that I've
Oh, okay.
a lot
That Bob
of
is right
designers
now.
do is like they'll draw like the pose and everything, put that into the program and tell it now take this style and apply it to this pose.
Mm.
Yeah, and you take like and there's like interesting ideas about AI. Like for
That's like
example,
right there, there's line art right there.
mhm.
Yeah, looks like a cell animation.
Mhm.
For example, like you take like Frank Miller, who's getting older, and he's obviously So here's the GI Joe stuff. Like, look, that to me that's Adam Hughes and Terry Dodson mixed together
Look at-
right
yeah,
there.
look at the eyes.
With the little J. Scott Campbell.
Yeah. I see the J Scott there too.
See, now, okay, there's Jinx. Now Jinx is Japanese with black hair, and so the AI has interpreted her this way. But so it's not an exact science. He put in the prompts, and this is how it drew Jinx, and you wouldn't recognize her as Jinx, but it still drew you a ninja girl.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
after
pretty cool looking.
it's done, after it's I like that. After it's generated, can you make edits to the artwork?
No.
You can feed it through again.
Yeah, you can like tweak the prompts and stuff like that, and or just like use the same prompts hit it again, and it'll actually produce something different.
Yeah, like maybe you could add in like black hair, Japanese, and then it would make her look
and
more
it would
like
change.
Jinx.
It would change the image.
I
But
like
so
that
like
helmet.
this
Oh,
is where
wait. I'm not done. Okay, so if you did that, so it wouldn't just have black hair, it would possibly completely regenerate the image that isn't similar to the one that came before.
Yep.
So you can't really duplicate the same image twice.
I mean, maybe if you're really good with the prompts, you can get something that's close. Maybe there's you know, I don't know enough about it to know whether or not you can take this image and you can say, okay, now give me this exact design, but running. Give me this exact design jumping out of an airplane. You know, I don't know
the consistency for me. Like it doesn't do.
Like what is that hat? What is that hat on Lady J?
I'm sorry.
Look at that hat that it generated. It's
Yeah,
that's a nonsense. That's a nonsense thing that it drove.
that
there.
looks like
shape.
you know those kind of like they're like conical like hats with like a small brim on the front of them that a lot of Japanese companies or like uniforms have. That's what that looks like. It's just gigantic.
Yeah, see now Lady J, she wears it like a baseball cap.
Yep.
So it but it couldn't, you know, it didn't spit that out. And then look, what's this weird thing hanging off of her rocket launcher? Like what is that? Is it a piece of a bra? Like what is that supposed? It's just it's a random artifact that the AI generated and threw in there. That's nonsensical. But
so this thing is moving so fast, you cannot edit it as it goes. So it's just going to play out whatever the programming said within seconds.
Yeah, it's like Jack actually kind of like put it succinctly. There are no AI artists, just AI art directors.
Yeah.
So you can't.
They actually call them. Is it stenograph? Stenograph?
Yeah, I can't remember. They came up with a name for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, don't get me started on Shadiversity, man. I like Shad. I really like Shad, but his argument is.
I love his channel, but his
argument
on the AI.
Okay, it's using an AI program and calling yourself an artist is like going to a baker, telling them what you want your wedding cake to look like, and calling yourself a pastry chef.
it's like making a Disney Star Wars movie and calling yourself a filmmaker.
Okay, now you're just being mean.
Well, that's why I'm here, right?
But you know what? The thing is, like people are going to see this, like just the average Joe, and they're just going to go, "Wow, this is just amazing!" Like they're not going to care how it's done. They're just going to look at it and go, "Wow, this is absolutely stunning." But there are artists that can draw like this. You know what I mean? Like it's not like you should go, "Wow." You should just go, okay, it's a thing drawing like somebody else. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's just kind of a weird. I don't know. I can't see people getting into it once they really know how it was designed.
I can. Art, you. How long has it been since you've been in an artist alley at a con?
Yeah, if you're selling prints at a con, you can just print these things out.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Like if you're selling prints, those guys make money selling prints, and like that's Chun-Li.
Yeah,
I mean that's an appealing Chun-Li that any normie is going to walk through and go like, oh wow, I really like that. She's really pretty. Yeah. I want to hang that on my wall, and they're gonna buy it.
Yeah, that's Ryu.
Mm-hmm.
But how expensive is the technology, or like accessing the technology?
It depends. Some of the programs you buy, like Midjourney, I think is a subscription thing. I think it's like as low as like $10 a month or something like that.
Yeah, and you get so many. And you get so many images. You're allowed to generate so many images.
So these guys can for $10 a month, they can sell a print like this for $20 at a show.
Wait, I'm gonna freak you out. I'm gonna give Bob another account. This guy can mimic Dan Panosian. That freaks me out.
Let's see it. Let's see it.
I can mimic
I'll
Dan Panosian.
You mean his art or just him in general? You do a pretty good impression.
Pricing. I'm looking at the pricing. Okay, so for the absolute best version of Midjourney, which is a Midjourney AI free, is $14 a month.
Wow! So you sell one print, you pay
3,000 fast generations per month, unlimited normal processing generations per month, no watermarking, commercial license, images are private.
You know what? A box of nibs. Hunt nibs is more money than this this generator.
That was the yearly billing. So it would be like $14 a month times 12, but for monthly it's $20.
So it would cost me more money just in raw materials to draw a comic book than it would to do one of these AI versions.
But you'd be selling pinups. Like
you could do story. You could.
I have yet to see it tell a story.
Well, I mean, I've bought some comics before that once I opened them up, I was like, oh, this is just pinups.
Look at this right here. This is an action piece right here. That's definitely Mario.
Yeah, but it's just a pinup.
Like,
show me characters talking to each other. Show me characters walking through a room.
Well, show me the next piece of that sequence with Mario. Like, what is he doing after that image?
Where is he coming? Where is he going? Yeah.
These are all pinups so far, and I'm not saying it can't do storytelling. I haven't seen it yet.
I'm saying I think that's the next step.
I'll get you the guy's account that showed some storytelling by.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot of Iron Man in that. I've seen a lot of this in a lot of AI generated like armor. So this is supposed to be Samus from Metroid, but there's a lot of Iron Man, Ironheart in there. Sometimes you can really see where it's grabbing from.
Yeah, the influences.
Yeah. So I'm gonna stop this one. I'm gonna show the other artist that Todd showed me. That guy does his art is very much Illustrator style.
So Todd, you don't think like if somebody came up with like panel 1 and they put in a description like an illustration, like they would an illustration, that it couldn't necessarily do that, or it would just be too time consuming to do that 6 times per one page?
I don't know that it would take that much time actually.
Because if it takes seconds to generate one image, you could do a comic book page, a complete comic book page in probably an hour.
Right.
And that's color everything, right? Because it's generating all the components at one time, right?
Right.
So the coloring, everything.
Yeah. Hey, go ahead and share that this page here. This is interesting.
This is like pen and ink stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, this is AI generated.
For book covers, for like covers of novels and things like that. Of course, they're going to use this.
And like I said, Wizards of the Coast, they own Magic the Gathering, they own Dungeons and Dragons. They made this claim: we are never going to use AI art, and they just got caught using AI art. And one of the guys,
this is the second time.
The first time they said, well, we didn't realize it was AI art because it was so good we couldn't tell the difference. And then the second time they got caught just red-handed. So
except fans could tell the difference immediately because they looked and they found the flaws.
Yeah.
And the second time they used it, now the excuse is, well, it was an outside marketing company that we used, and so they used the AI art and we didn't catch it.
Yeah.
But the fans caught it immediately because of the artifacts and the errors and the little nonsense like wires going to things that there's no reason for wires to be there. Fans caught it. And so they tried that marketing excuse, and one of the first responses I saw was somebody say, "Well, maybe you could do it in house if you had, say, maybe 1,100 more people," because they just let go of 1,100 people.
He just fired like a shit ton of people
when they should have fired their CEO and their chief financial officer.
Yeah, but
these are the people. Disastrous decisions.
I want to read this. There are tutorials on YouTube showing how to create a children's book with AI.
Yeah.
So I guess this stuff is happening, and I want to ask you a question because I don't know. We already got an AI comic called ISOM 1. I thought that.
Oh, come on!
Oh, it's a joke. So it's somebody.
No, it's just someone trying to start. Start some static.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
What is
like this?
Wow, you fell for that one.
I mean, like this totally looks like an illustrator.
Yeah.
Now again, see here.
There's something plastic about it, though.
It's because there's no action. Looks like I said, it's mostly pinup stuff.
Yeah.
But how many artists do we know that work in a style like that?
You could show me a lot of this, and I wouldn't be able to dispute you that it's not an actual person illustrating it.
A lot of these pinups, you wouldn't know that it wasn't just an artist.
Yeah. Look at
simpler the style.
Great Joker.
But what if some artist came up to you, Aaron, at a convention and showed you all these pinups? What is the first thing you're going to say?
Where are your sequentials?
Yeah, where's your
Exactly.
dynamic stuff?
Mhm. What? Yeah, show me some sequential stuff because there's legitimate artists that can't do sequentials. They can do
Yep.
beautiful pinups, but they can't
Yep.
do sequential work.
But then, this kind of stuff right here, this is where I think AI really shines right now, and that's doing backgrounds and stuff like this.
Mhm. And there's a lot of there's a lot of artists already using it for that.
Yeah,
they're not-
100%.
they're not
I
coming
know.
out.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh God, what's his name? Joe Benitez was actually like, because he has like a lot of people that do backgrounds for him,
Mhm.
and he's been piddling around with this stuff, and I don't think it's gonna be long before he'll start using it as like for some of his background stuff.
I thought guys that were using SketchUp. Oh, I'm sorry. The guys that were using SketchUp were kind of like cheating. Where they could take a car and they could move it in in all kinds of positions, and then they could like the pencil line art. They could make it ink. And they could do all these things. I thought those were cheats, but now like they don't even have to. They don't even have to go that far
beyond
with it.
cheating. Yeah.
This is absolutely mind blowing.
Now, let me ask you a question. I mean, go ahead, Todd.
I was gonna say, go to the next one I sent you and start showing them the storytelling stuff.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'd like to see, but I think what you were talking about, Art, is what they were referencing with ISOM. They were using some SketchUp stuff and different perspectives and like playing in computer generated bodies.
And there's a ton of artists. I mean, there's a ton of artists even in the mainstream that do.
Oh, Marvel and DC. There's tons of guys using that stuff.
Oh, when I was working, 5 years ago for DC, there was a lot of it. You can tell it's very technical, and anybody could draw a car like that.
Cars are the fucking hardest thing to
draw.
draw.
You're drawing multiple images of them from different angles and stuff like that. It's pretty much impossible to do unless you have crazy reference. Or you're Sean Gordon Murphy. I don't know how the fuck that guy does that shit.
No, he loves
you have to love it. You have. It's like anything else. You have to love it. So if you want a car tutorial, if you're like, hey, I'd really like to get better and figure this out, hit up Alan Gladfelter, man, who worked on the Cars books for me.
Oh.
He will tell you how it's just drawing dogs, man. Drawing cars is just drawing dogs, and he has this whole philosophy of how he does it. And you watch it and you go, oh yeah, I guess it is just drawing a dog, huh?
If I could draw cars, I put them in the background and I trace them off of an image.
Sean Gordon Murphy, he builds models.
Oh,
he makes like homemade models of vehicles and stuff. That's how he does that stuff.
So he'll kit that like a Batmobile, like his own Batmobile, and so then he can just like photograph it or
he'll just make like a model he can hold.
And then he'd just move it around.
Yeah, like if you go on his Instagram, you can see you can see him making some of them. They're pretty badass.
It's almost photographic. It's like those cars were real at one point.
Yeah.
And he's just pulling them out of nowhere because they're like multiple angles in action, all kinds of stuff, and it's absolutely amazing.
Cars and horses, they're a bitch.
Todd, that link that you gave me, it says it cannot access it at this time.
All right, I'll share. Go to.
Is
there an adult paywall?
Can you guys see that? The 3 panels?
No.
All right, hold on. Window.
The thing about SketchUp is you can always tell too, because like they'll make it small, but it'll have every detail. Like if it's a car and it's this big, you'll be able to see the steering wheel inside. And
yeah.
Can you see that now?
Yeah. There it is. Is this it?
Yeah, this is it.
Okay. Well,
this is a sort of Star Wars story that the guy put together.
It's great atmosphere.
Okay, here this actually looks like a storytelling page. The first one I was going to say that's just more pinups. This you can see that as a storytelling page.
Mm-hmm. Still, there's
but
not
the thing
a whole
is, it's very sterile. It's very sterile, man. It's like watching the creator. Like it's gorgeous, but man, I feel nothing. I'm not being sucked into any.
You want to know what this would be really good for though? Storyboards.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's essentially
not
what
even.
Rebel Moon is essentially storyboards. Storyboards the movie.
Yeah.
God. Tell me about it, man. Oh, see right there. There's some action going on there. So that's not. It's
But what's with dude's face in the middle panel? Like it's just like like that.
Weird.
And you can't really tell me what's happening in that panel at all. Like what's the person over on the right doing? I don't even know. Like there's.
Well, there's no real interaction between characters. It's like looking at a Boris Vallejo painting, where like the characters are kind of in the same scene, but they're not really interacting.
Look at his. Wait, go back 1 second. Look at his neck in the bottom panel.
Yeah, and those guys are gonna kiss though.
Hold on.
Oh my God.
They're gonna kiss this.
I can't go back.
Yeah,
The AI won't let you go back.
There it goes.
Look at the.
Oh yeah,
Oh, where he's looking backward.
he's looking
Yeah.
all the way backward.
Like that.
Broke back
His
neck.
shoulders need to
Yeah.
be turned way further.
Yeah, the shoulders aren't moving any. You know,
Yes.
it's really bizarre. Yeah,
I mean, it looks like a Kyle Katarn comic that might have come out.
Yeah.
You know, here she's got the lightsaber in her mouth. Oh, look, there's a godlike Chewbacca.
but just to answer your question, Clint, these are just pinups in panel form.
Yeah.
Like there is
Yeah.
there is no continuity. There's no emotion. There's no build up. There's nothing. This is all sterile imagery. That's just there's one right after the other. But there's no storytelling. Like you can't tell anything that's going on. Every one of these panels you're looking at, they look like the panel before it, the page before it. Like there's nothing here. It's gorgeous, but there's nothing here.
There was one panel that didn't have a head in it. It just had hair coming out of it. A little ways back. Yeah. Like there's, you would have to tweak this so much. And like we were saying, we're probably only a few years away from these problems being eliminated.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Jedi Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus.
The thing is,
Jedi
what would be interesting is if you could, if it got to that point where you could generate like the emotion, like you could say this emotion is this, so you could kind of try to get less of a generic face and more of a face that was emoting,
reacting to the environment. At least.
Yeah. And here's the thing, Eric Hutfeld said in the thing, like some of this stuff, I recognize some of these ships and stuff like that. They're just flat ripoffs.
Wait, what's happening on top of the helmet?
This looks like a Lionel Yu thing.
Yeah.
But dude,
And which makes sense because Lionel Yu really heavily leaned on SketchUp to do a lot of his backgrounds and stuff.
Eric is right though.
I see it. Hey, Pedro, the laser beam is going through the background.
It's going through the temple and in front of the head of the
in front of the guy's head.
Well, why is that guy so giant? Is that a skull? Is that a statue? Is that a sculpture? Like what's the logic of what the AI is spitting out?
No idea, dude. This is just jarring.
And Eric had a good point that like some of those ships were directly like ripped off from Cam Kennedy's Dark Empire. Like you could see that they were just translated over.
But here's the thing: everything that we've ripped on, everything that we trashed on these pages, if some writer wants to spend $14 a month and he wants to get his story, he wants to write his story and have it look pretty, that like he could put a book together like this, and then he'd have to like work his ass off writing this, dialogue to make everything fit and everything.
Marvel styling it, yeah.
Yeah. That's something that a lot of guys that want to be comic book writers are chomping at the bit for because they can't afford a comic book artist. It's too hard to get started. Like this will give writers, I would think, an opportunity because I mean those pages, well, they weren't perfect, they were weird, they were pretty. I mean, they were pretty, and if you put a good story and you can show your dialogue, you can like take all these jumbled images and weird things and make it into a story that like somebody is interested in actually reading. Having pretty art under it gives the writer a little bit of ability that they did not have before, and at a cheap price, $14 a month. Yeah, some writer who's just dying and is working a job and can't afford, to pay a creative team. That's a lot of freedom for a writer right there.
And let me take this. You can do it now, Art. If you have to generate 10 drawings to get it, you still save a lot of time. There's no way this doesn't keep getting better too. Crying about it is just denying reality. Hey, I'm not denying any reality, and I'm not crying about it. The thing is, I remember when people came to me, it's like when digital, inkers and all this stuff was happening,
Mhm.
and they would come up to me and they go, "How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that?" I go, it's an art form, it's storytelling. So whatever
Yeah.
tools you feel benefit you to tell your story, then use them. So if digital tools you feel are better than traditional ink tools or whatever it is, then do that. I'm not against it at all.
Mhm.
It's about expression and it's about storytelling. So I never say never.
Yeah.
So as far as technology, I'm not dragging my heels and I'm not a caveman. But the thing is, like Miyazaki, you have to ask yourself certain questions like, why are we doing it to begin with? Like, are you doing it to save money? If so, well, that has no integrity. Like, that has absolutely no integrity to it. If you're doing it to replace human beings and you hate working with, I'm sure Aaron at times when he was editing, he'd probably better, be happier dealing with an AI than a human being. But the thing is, why are you doing it? You know what I mean? Like are comics that fucked up and broken that you think a computer is going to come in and fix it? Like,
Yes.
is this your Hail Mary pass? Like digital and chat GPT and all these other things are going to be your savior? If so, I guess we just have to wait and see, right?
Well, I'll tell you why, Art. Here's the why, is because the human spirit does cry out for artistic, to view beauty and to, see these things. But the elites don't really like people and they want less of us. So if they can automate everything, including their art, then they can get rid of all of us plebs and they can just live in their ivory towers and sip their goblets of human blood and not have to worry about us, the little people.
I've thought
getting
about
in the way.
that as a sci-fi concept, right? Okay, get rid of
Yeah.
the humans. Okay, that's always been there. But the thing is, humans generate revenue. So without the revenue, where would the rich people be? Like who would build their robots and all this other stuff if somebody wasn't generating money?
The robots will build the robots eventually.
Yeah, okay. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Well, then who would buy the product that the robots are creating? Just the rich people? If so, they've already made the stuff. They already own all this stuff. So you still have to have humans. I know that they're trying to reduce us to just like,
The masses will buy it.
Yeah, but if they got rid of the masses, then
the masses have no income because the robots are taking all their jobs.
There you go. Exactly. So
But you don't need the masses anymore, Art, because your basic needs are all taken care of. The robots do everything until they rebel and murder you. But the robots do everything. You don't need people anymore. You don't need consumers because you have all the resources already.
Okay,
and the only resources that you need to expend are the resources that the robots are using to build more robots.
How does this rich person get richer with no income being generated?
Yeah, but
is there a point where you don't need to anymore because you're in a post-economic kind of situation?
Post-economic future, yeah.
But
I think they're going to run out.
The rich will run out of money.
No, it's not money. They're not going to run out of money.
The end game is only robots and no people.
Yeah.
The only reason that money has any value is because we all agree that it does. It's not, don't get me started on, don't make me that guy at the bar that you're watching the game with and all of a sudden he turns to you and he's like, our currency isn't backed by anything, right? Don't get me started on that. But
this is where we always get to.
But Todd, you had something you wanted to say?
Yeah, I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you guys a guy that.
Okay, before we do that, I have to say one thing. I'm so glad that I'm dumping this here because I dump these questions on to my wife like all the time, and she's just like, "I'm done." Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
You get stares.
I just wanted to know what you wanted for dinner, Art.
What's that, Bob?
You said you told me that on your wife. She's like, I just wanted to know what you wanted for dinner.
Yeah, exactly. Like she's not into so where is humanity headed? All that shit.
Somebody mentioned like they drink blood, but no, I think they're drinking stem cell cocktails, and they're gonna run out of that before the robots kill them. Because that's the thing. Like,
hey, Pedro,
they want to live forever. That's the thing. What?
Can we go to Todd now?
No,
dude, you completely lost me. Man.
No,
this is somebody that McFarlane uses on his covers, and I'm sure once you see it, you'll recognize. This is
Oh yeah,
Bjorn Berens.
yeah.
It looks
he-
like an action figure, like that's
Yep.
posed with some kind of digital background.
He does a composite of different things.
Mm.
And sometimes you'll see things in the foreground that are like really strange, but he
Yeah.
he
The lighting is
like
weird.
this, you know, this is just disturbing, really.
Yeah.
Oh, what's
I have to
disturbing
read
about
this.
that,
I have to
Todd?
read this. I'm sorry. Eric
Yikes.
says, Panda art. Why are you like this?
Art's
She's
laughing
like, steak or
because he's heard
you want
that
steak or
question many times.
steak or chicken tonight, honey? And you're like, what are the philosophical implications of
Yeah.
AI art and
Steak or
how far
chicken.
will it go? And she's like, honey, come on.
Steak or chicken? Have you heard of the Anunnaki, Pam?
So
Do you think it was Nephilim at that mall in Miami?
God.
What were we saying?
Horrible.
he couldn't get Red Sonja to look like Red Sonja, so it just produces something that
Oh yeah.
it's not even close.
So
It's
it's
some kind of
that-
hunter chick. Yeah.
Yeah, that back femur is really long, where she has like a gimp leg up front.
So are we saying
Well, it looks like she has a hoof up front. Like
Well,
she has
that's
a
what-
hoof.
okay.
Dynamite is already using AI covers?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
a DC cover. This
Yeah.
is AI.
Oh, that's AI.
This is the DC
Yeah,
cover?
they yes,
Yeah.
and they got reamed for
Oh.
doing this too.
This is bad.
Yeah, but this just goes to show you that they're looking at it. They're already
Oh, yeah.
looking at it.
They're trying.
He's done
Yeah.
covers for everybody. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and so this is the same guy that's
Yeah.
portraying himself that these are his covers.
yeah.
Is he
Oh.
denying that they're AI generated?
No,
I
don't
don't
thi-
know that I've ever.
I think he says they're composites.
Yeah.
Oh,
What does that mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Generic,
that means AI.
generic way for saying yes, it's AI.
Partially,
Yeah.
I mean, all AI is composites. It's taking from a million different artists and
he-
compositing
he-
it together.
he says he
Right.
takes the pieces from different sources. Some of it's AI, some of it's painted, some of it's like photo what is it photo bashing, that kind of stuff.
So he's lying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is, and they all are.
Yeah.
He's not the only one getting work.
Yeah.
From Marvel and DC and stuff. They're all lying and saying it's them. Some
Okay.
of them you can see
Okay,
that they paint over an image.
Mhm.
Right,
Well,
right. Well, let me
go
ask you
individually
a question. Okay, so DC, Marvel, whoever's commissioning this guy, McFarlane, are they paying less for this stuff?
They better be.
I
Not
don't
if
know.
they don't know what it is. If
Because
you-
the thing is, there are really, really talented people right now. I mean, the market is shrinking. There's a lot of people scrambling for work. It seems like you have your pick of the best of the best. Like, why are you commissioning bullshit art? Unless you're saving a lot
Yeah.
of money.
That's not Red Sonja.
Probably that.
no,
It's like a kid. It looks like a little kid.
Yeah, and it's but here's the
Oh,
thing,
yuck.
more than I gotta imagine that they're probably paying less for this stuff because that's the only reason to do this.
Exactly. Yeah. I remember when the whole
That or
Pixar
time.
thing, was happening with John Lasseter at Disney, like this is early Pixar. And so they brought John Lasseter in and he's showing off his like little samples of like digital, cartooning and stuff like that. And they're saying, okay, impressive. Does it save us money? And he said, no, it's more expensive. And then they said, okay, we've seen enough. And so not too long after that, they fired him, right? So then he went and started developing stuff, on his own with different partners and stuff like that. And then they proved to Disney that it was viable and that it was cost effective. So the thing is, like, bottom line for these corporations is always the dollar. Like, why would you get rid of a human unless you were saving some serious dollars?
Yeah.
Well, it's so that the executive can get a better bonus. Like, how does this get us a better bonus? How does this, mean that Iger makes more money, and the people that, we would normally be paying to produce this stuff make less? If they could replace all of their animators tomorrow with AI and get the same or better results, they would do it in a heartbeat, and don't think that they wouldn't. They don't care, and the fans that like stand for these corporations, they don't care about you either. You're just wallets to them. Just shut up and give us your money.
Yeah.
And that's all that
Just
matters to them.
Let me consume. Get off my case. Get off my nuts.
Look at her
And
torso in this picture. Look at the
This
angle.
is-
Look at
look at her
how long
face.
her like. Or if you did a draw through of her anatomy underneath that, would it work?
No,
No.
and also this looks like a kid drew it, like all the
Yeah.
colors and the softness
Long
and everything.
movies, man.
It looks.
It just looks
long.
like this reminds me like of really really early bad computer generated graphics.
It
Look at the big
reminds me of,
Starro on the
like, a-
side that's just there. That's just
Yeah.
like the wall of Starro.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like my college days. Like this is amateur art.
Yeah. Now now let me. I had a question before we got into this.
Oh
part.
shit! What the
Something that I
hell?
wanted to ask you
Yeah,
guys.
these are worse.
Some people like I was talking to James Reyes, and he was doing this thing where he was like letting Midjourney create the image, and then he was doing his version of that image. Can you see what would you think about using AI as
As your rougher?
as like a rougher or like to learn from?
For me, well, there's nothing to learn from this because this is all wrong. So I wouldn't use
Well,
it as a
I'm not
learning.
talking about this. I'm talking about some of the stuff we saw earlier.
Well, regardless, I wouldn't use it as a learning tool because I don't think it's that reliable. And and the other thing, what was the other thing?
What
you
do
said,
you
Bob?
think it could be used for, though?
Could be used for what?
Do you think it could be used for that
As a learning tool?
as either a learning tool or like a rougher? You know,
Yeah,
Well,
for-
what's the
for
other thing is,
compositing stuff.
as far as like layouts and like the sketches and stuff, for me, that's my favorite part. Like, because
And none of that has any life. Art is going to
Right.
be able to lay out a page that has more, that's more dynamic and more interesting than any of that stuff that we saw generated. I mean, any of it, even the really good stuff, because it's just
Well,
mostly
like,
that's the most fun. Like any artist that wants to just do this AI, they're just obsessed with the finished product, the progress or the process. They don't care about the art itself. They don't care about the journey. They don't care about the discovery. Like the thing is, I know Clint, and Todd, like when and Pedro, like when we're drawing, it's like it's discovery. It's like you're moving things around. You're trying. It's like, oh, well, that's not it. You rip it up, throw it, try it again, get it right. And it's all about like the discovery of the pose and the invention of the image. And if you were to take that away from the artist, I would say like what would be even the point of it? Like the point of drawing is that stuff. Like
and learning how to do it.
Yeah, I sell my doodles. I sell, like even J. Scott Campbell, he'll sell his roughs.
God.
Yeah, he'll sell them for thousands of dollars.
His
Because
sketches alone,
Yeah. But that's the discovery of the image, right? So if you have those little doodles, those drawings, then you kind of get to see the process. But this, if it's done in seconds, there is no process. It's just like you're typing things in, and then boom, it's done. Let's move on. Like you could not be any more soulless than that. I mean, that is like complete detachment from anything you're doing. Like even time, you're detached from. Like if it could generate in 3 minutes or whatever, then it's like, oh well, my time invested here is 12 seconds. Yeah, it's insane. Yeah,
I don't know, man. And not only that, like sometimes you make mistakes that you don't use on the page. You just working on, but later that mistakes become like part of new art. You know what I mean? Like that's the discovery and doing your own layout. Like if you relinquish your layouts to a machine, you're doing it yourself a disservice as an artist. Like some people, maybe some consumers don't really care. It's just like, dude, give him an entertainment and I'm gonna be gone. And that's fine. But as artists, like I don't want to say like I completely reject AI, but I'd rather do it myself. That's how you improve.
Well, that was my argument was like the whole idea behind struggling through that kind of stuff is to learn how to do it. If you're using Midjourney to like do your layouts and whatnot, you're not going to really figure that out.
Right.
That was my argument. James is a very like bright future, like best case scenario kind of guy. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I could totally see someone using this to do that," and and stuff like that. And I
Hey,
said,
I can see people using it. I
Yeah.
just don't see the necessary
benefit of
benefit for mankind, kind of like the Miyazaki thing. Like, what's the benefit of mankind? Let me just do a round robin real quick then. Todd,
Yeah.
where do you think this is going? Like, what would they ultimately use this for? How can it serve the bigger picture, like humanity? I mean,
Well, I'll be honest and tell you what I use it for. It lights things differently
I
than
knew
think.
you're
Yeah,
one of
me.
them.
It lights things differently than I think a lot of comic artists do. So when I see something and go, "Oh, I love how that's lit," I'll save it in a file that I have or whatever. But that's all. I mean, it certainly has, like, there's good and bad, right? There's uh, perfect stuff that's like photograph quality. That's not going to help anybody as far as like even using it as a tool. But if you can quantify what it does in conjunction with what you're trying to achieve in your own work, like become a better colorist. Well, coloring, and as because I do it, is about choices. It's about the choices you make, and then do they all come together? And that's sometimes, man, that's the most difficult thing. So I do rely on, of course, I look at Marte Garcia or Sanchez and stuff like that. These are some of my favorite colorists. Not only that, I do like those guys that came from Dark Horse, like the guys that color with No K, like Hollingsworth and Dave Stewart. And so I also look at them. But, it's again another tool. For me, it's just another tool in that way, to look at how it lights things. But other than that, illustrating and stuff, I don't really see a way for it to help me in that, if that answers your question.
One, let me clarify. Okay, so how would you use it? I mean, in your work, like you kind of you were saying stuff that I couldn't really
Okay, like for
grasp.
instance, I saw a Batman that was colored, and it used all these neon colors, but it was still Batman and still in his normal environment of Gotham City. And I thought, wow, that's an interesting take. How would you get there? Like, how do you get from what okay, Batman's gray, he's blue, he's this, but how do you get to the point where you're pushing him towards these neon colors by virtue of what his surroundings are? That's what I'm talking about. It's a more of a higher level thinking of
Yeah,
how
but
to.
a photograph with somebody standing in front of neon lighting could do the same thing.
It can, but that, I mean, it's just one of those things where I see something and I might save it because I might want to try those two.
I understand, like inspiration, like a little swipe file, like you
Right,
come
right.
back on that idea, like it's an idea that takes root later, but it's not really what AI is.
No,
So
of course it's not, but I do think you'll see somebody try to use it to do complete comics, just like they did. Remember, was Batman's Cyber 2.0 or something like that? It was a weird thing.
Pepe, what was that guy's name? Yeah, that was horrible.
It was a completely generated computer story. That's just a precursor to this. So, might somebody find a way to utilize it and fool people? Oh, I'm sure they might.
Well, let's see what Pedro has to say. So, Pedro, like this AI, could you ever see yourself using it, bringing it into your work? And if so, how would you do it?
But I have two opinions on this. As an artist and somebody who loves learning, I will steer away from this completely because I see no growth in using a tool like this. Other people might think otherwise. I'm not gonna bash them, but to me, AI it's godsend for corporate more so than for artists. Because I mean, somebody like Marvel, DC is like, okay, guys, we're going full AI and get rid of all the problems they have right now. And the comics are gonna be zero. Maybe they'll sell, maybe they won't. But as an organic, I mean, as having running a business, with the least people possible, AI is awesome for a corporate environment. But as an artist, like there's no growth. So
well, okay. What about in the future when it does?
Mhm.
Like we get somewhere where somebody goes, okay, I need to make one of these programs that does in betweens. It'll do in betweens in my style, and I can do faster animation. And so somebody develops a program using AI.
The thing with in betweens is that like that they sound like lesser art, but they're really not, because your in betweens involve your decision with your character acting.
Mm-hmm.
If you allow a machine to do the in betweens for you, and there's certain things you want to say with the acting of your character, you have no control. So again, no growth. That's the thing.
You're the control. You'll always it'll still need to be controlled.
You know what would be good? Yeah,
if you have a running sequence and you just wanted to do the floating background that goes behind the characters, then somebody's going to be like, okay, that works. I can utilize that
for stuff like that, like backgrounds, doing shadows. Maybe that would be awesome for 2D. Because I mean, one of the things that spiked the prices of animated pieces is doing shadow work. It's just animating over what you already animated. So maybe automate that, the stuff like that, but acting decisions like doing in between.
Some of that stuff is. I don't know the animation industry, but I would say that some of that shadow work is probably already some type of program, because it just makes sense, because you know, like you said, like a shadow needs to be animated as well. You know what I mean? Because that shadow's moving every time that character moves. So you know, like, but it's kind of like filling black, you know, areas when you're inking. You know, it's not that even involved. It's like there's a lot of people that can do it. You know, so why would you waste an A-list talent to do that? You know what I mean? When maybe a computer could do it, kind of thing.
Some of the Star Trek and Star Wars shows.
Hey Todd, let me let everybody have input on this, and then we'll come back. What's that?
Well, let me just say this. Some of the Star Trek and Star Wars shows are using AI, where they have an artist who creates an environment, but then the AI extends that environment on the soundstage.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like they're on Tatooine, or it looks like they're, you know, whatever, and it's all AI generated based on the concept designs.
You're talking about that big screen, that big wraparound screen that they use.
The volume, it's called the volume.
Yeah. All right,
but it looks garbage. You know, like you look at it and you can tell that it's not right.
Yeah, and also it's what we're talking about. It's like I've heard actors explain this stuff. Like they love the Lord of the Rings. They love going on location. They love being in those environments because there's tactile things. There's air. There's wind. There's things that are happening that are real. You know, when you're in an artificial environment, it is just that. It's an artificial environment, and I can see how that'd be attractive to some directors. You know, because they don't have to worry about all those other things. You know what I mean? But the magic, I think, happens on set, you know, where all this shit's kind of happening and you have to figure it out on the fly. That resourcefulness, you know, the tangibility of the location, what you can do, what you can't do, the opportunities that maybe a sunset provides that you never would have thought of before. Like there's just tangible things. And these actors and these people that are present in the scene can feel that. They can emote from that. They can you know, be in those environments. And I think these are the things that maybe actors, like really good actors, can bring. But I think it's going to make things more superficial as we go along. But anyways, I want to get Aaron's take on the same thing. Like, where do you think this is headed? Like, where do you like how would you use it? I guess in your writing, or you know, would you ever use it?
Well, I'll say this, and then I've unfortunately I have to go.
Oh, no problem.
I would never really. I don't foresee being able to ever really use it in my writing, because I feel like generating something, even if I put in all the ideas and then I have it generate a script, I feel like it's going to take me just as much time to go through and edit that to get it where I want it and to restructure it as it would just to write it out. So, and I have plenty of ideas, and I don't have any problem laying them out in a logical and kind of, and pacing them out in a coherent fashion. So ChatGPT to me, these AI writing programs, they don't really mean anything. As far as the AI art goes, the only way that I really see it as a benefit is, just kind of like concept art generation, perhaps, and then the idea that like maybe you have a guy like Frank Miller, who he's getting older, he's had some medical problems, he can't draw the way that he used to. Where maybe you could feed his entire catalog of art into an AI, and then Frank could generate work based on his, on his own body of work. He's not stealing from anybody else. He's stealing from himself, which is not.
That's a great
stealing.
idea.
Yeah,
So maybe we could, do it along that way, and then it actually could be copyrightable because it is only his art, and he could.
Well, it's also it's not plagiarized in any way, shape, or form because it is something he created. So basically, you could actually, even if you're a businessman, you could license your stuff. Like you could draw like Frank Miller. Like you could, make your own comics the Frank Miller way.
I would only want Frank stealing from like early Daredevil and like the Dark Knight. I wouldn't want him like stealing from like the sequels or like the later Sin City stuff. Early
Sin City, yes.
Yeah, steal from your good stuff. Like don't steal.
From you put in your very best. Like the very best examples.
What was the Batman Dark Knight Returns where it had Plastic Man in it, and it was just
the DK2 or
the Master Race one.
Yeah, it was just so putrid.
Yeah.
No, not the first.
Dark Knight. I don't think he drew Master Race. I think that he did DK2, which was
whatever one had the Plastic Man story in it, and it was just god awful.
I think that's probably it. It was horrible. Well, Aaron, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us for an hour and a half. I do appreciate, man. You make the show. You give a little extra insight to it, and I do appreciate that, man. So anytime you want to come on to Pontificators, you're always welcome, my friend. So take care, man.
Thank you. I will hit you up. Thanks to the chat, and I will see you guys later. Thanks for having me.
Later.
All right. Yep. All right, Clint, you got the floor, man. So how would you use it? Like if you were going to use it?
Like I said, I'm a capitalist, so I haven't put any thought into this whatsoever. But if I was going to use it, I'm sharing something right now, Art.
Oh, I see it.
So if I was going to use it, not saying I'm going to use it, but realistically, it comes down to your audience. And like the audience is pretty heavily anti-AI. I wouldn't straight up use AI, but I would use AI and then like fit it to my. So the far left image is Kate Upton as Power Girl. And so then everything to the right is me tweaking the image digitally, painting, tweaking. Let me see if I can zoom in. I think I've got it in Photoshop.
So you put Kate's head on a cosplayer?
No. This is the left image. That's the blonde Kate Upton. That's completely AI.
That's AI, and then he used it to create the other one.
Yep. So she's got this kind of pig nose and the unibrow, but she's got the giant boobs, which
I see.
That draws me in.
Which Clint's like all the other stuff doesn't matter.
Yeah. So like here.
You rework the nose. Yeah.
I like fix the nose and the lips and the buck teeth, and I tweaked the eyebrows. I tried to work her hair from what it was, but I didn't like it. So then here I even go in more digitally. So if I was ever going to attempt this, and this would be like a variant cover, like a pinup or something like that. That's what I think. If I dip my toe in, I think that's as far as I dip it in. See if, because I mean, you can tell right away with variant covers. I love variant covers. And the fans point out which variant covers they like right away when you run a crowdfunder campaign. Like, it's like all of a sudden one day there's 23 backers for one cover and there's 2 for another cover. And it's like, which variant covers you hit on. So if I was going to attempt it, I think this would be my way of dipping my toe in the water to see if there was fan support. because I do like the look to have that photorealistic image of your character that just kind of looks cool. I think is fun. I like that aspect of it. I don't like the whole aspect of obviously cutting other artists out and like, you know, artists not getting work, but as a variant cover, and I would list it clearly as an AI generated cover that I tweaked myself. So I think if I was gonna do anything, oops, let's fix that. Oops, yeah, there we go.
What would you fix there?
I would just like the nipples were not on there originally, so that is artist created nipples. So
Something to fix. Nipple placement. Yes.
Clint is
massively
playing
talented.
God.
So
Mhm.
like if I was gonna attempt anything, this is, you know, I love, like, look at that's great lighting on the breasts, the cleavage, the way Blue Bombshell's costume kind of glistens and hits all the highlights. So as a capitalist and a comic book artist, I guess that would be my and I mean she doesn't even really need her head there. So.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah. So you kind of dabble in it, see what the market will hold.
I'd give it one try. If there was backlash, obviously, like I'm here to sell comics, and I think there is a market. I think there are fans that like that AI created like realistic look, and I mean, I'm here to sell comics. So if there is an audience for it, you know, I'm not opposed to hitting that audience. And
There's definitely an audience for it.
Yeah. So that's probably, don't stop if Taskmaster Dan's getting on me. And I get it. That's the thing, is that there's the backlash. I don't want to alienate backers either. I want to have a little something for everybody without pissing anybody off. And I get that it's a tightrope, and that's why I don't even know that I'd attempt it, because I mean there is the fear of alienating backers you already got, which is the last thing. But also, people want to motorboat those big bad boys. So, it's a fine line we walk, Art, in this comic book business.
Well,
trying to keep everybody happy. So,
I'm always this way. I'm very impractical in most things in my life, but very practical when it comes to this stuff. Okay, if there's a reason, I'll do it. If there's no reason, I won't do it. It's as simple as that. So I'm not one of those guys that's like, oh, it's new technology, I'm going to dabble in it, right? I got a Wacom tablet that I don't even use. I mean, it's top of the line. I just,
Art, it's you'd love it. Oh, you'd love it, Art. You'd love it.
But the thing is, it's like people go, well, it'd be faster for you. It'd be all these things. And I'm like, I'm pretty fast as is. Like, I don't see it as really bringing anything to the work. If I did, maybe I would. And maybe if I did get it down to a science, it would benefit me. But right now, I really don't see it. And that's the way I am with a lot of the technology. So I think if I could see how AI would benefit what I do specifically, screw everybody else, whatever, if it could enhance some way what I'm trying to do, you know what I mean, without getting in the way of who I am and what I'm trying to do. If it could enhance it or help me with the vision of manifesting it, that's fine. But to do it just to do it, that's not how I'm wired. So there would have to be a practical purpose for it. Right now, I agree with Pedro 100%. This is all corporate push. This is all the only way I see people benefiting is on the corporate side of it. I don't see humanity benefiting, and I don't see artists benefiting because all these people that we've showed the artwork for, if they could fucking do what that AI did, they would be fucking doing it. I'm telling you right now, if they could pull off what that AI stuff looks like in real life, if they could paint that or draw that or whatever, that's what they would be doing. You know why? Because there's pride and satisfaction in it, and there's a connection to that work that you will never get from AI. And so those people that are using AI, I'm sorry if anybody's really using it and is a real artist and can draw. I don't understand why you would do it. If you could really draw or you could paint like that or whatever, fuck. That's exactly what I'd be doing, right? Like I would be doing that, and I would try to create the most original take on that as I could, so I could put my signature on it. So then people would go, "That's an R.T. Bear original," or "That's a Clint Helinski," or whoever, Pedro Ang original, because that's where the pride comes in. I could never sign my name to an AI piece of generated art. I could never do that because the thing is, you didn't fucking do anything. Like I'm cussing a lot. Maybe I'm passionate about this. Maybe I'm more passionate about this than I thought. But the thing is, you didn't do it. Why would you even sign your name to it? What were you going to say, Pedro?
No, you're passionate about it. I like it.
Yeah. So that's kind of the way where I stand on it. Oh, wait. Angry Art.
Come at me, bro.
Yeah, that's some art. Whoa. Art's about to break a bottle. All right,
well, the problem is I'm not drinking tonight, so
right.
I got a little drunk.
whiskey.
I got a little drunk on the professionals.
The only thing I would add is like
Nice.
I
didn't even know I was drunk until I tried to stand up. You ever have those times where you're like live stream, and then you get up and you're like,
whoa, hey.
Yeah. The only you were asking like what it would benefit humanity. The only thing I can think of is speed, but then you're sacrificing soul for speed.
and then it's only benefiting the corporation. It's not benefiting the artist.
Right.
I mean, unless you're.
But as crowdfunders, speed.
Now, what about costume design?
I'll go there.
What about
I think costume design, like I think Aaron said, like early developmental stuff.
Mhm.
You like, especially if you're a writer. Like if you're solely a writer and you're not necessarily a visual person, right? And a lot of writers actually do like little character doodles and stuff like that to try to, is this what the character would look like or whatever? They could actually take this AI, they could go in and they could generate
an approximation of what they want the artist to do.
and then they can give that to an artist and they could say this. But then there's always this, is the practicality of the design. Like, you have to move that design. Pedro knows probably more than any comic book artist. You have to move that design. How does it move?
Flow.
Yeah,
What about-
because you gotta draw it.
But there's something about character design that I've differentiated from doing comic books now. Is that it's not really the same? Because I mean, it's all right. Like form follows function, right? And in animation, it's very important that form follows function, because since you're moving the character, you don't want to put like elements of the costume that are going to get on the way of movement or the way of acting. But since we're doing comic books and these are like basically panels, you have to be a little bit more aggressive with your designs, in the sense that people are going to be watching one image for a long time. That doesn't happen in animation. So designing for comic books, still, it has to look functional, but you got to go into details because you want your art to be, to catch people's eyes and lose them. Like, okay, I read the comic, I want to go back and just see the art. That doesn't happen that much in animation. So that's the thing that you have to take into consideration. Like in animation, follow form function, and that's like, dude, that's your god.
Yeah, but the thing is that there's still you can get into more detail in a comic book, and you can make maybe more complex costume designs. Yeah, but that costume still has to work from multiple shots, and like camera angles and all these different things. Yeah. And when you're designing these characters, you have to be aware of that. Like right now, I'm in the middle of like, for the next black and white story arc, I'm redesigning a lot of the characters, and so. You come up with one shot. You come up with one shot because you go, this helmet, right? But there's always that one shot, right? And then that's the first thing you draw. But then you go, oh shoot, what's a front angle? What's a profile? What does this look like? And then you start trying to work that out, and then you go, it just simply doesn't work. It only works for that 1/3 view. It doesn't work in any other shot. You know.
Right. When I was animating,
I've got some suggestions for White's costume art.
Bigger is better.
Less
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah,
Less
Todd, what were
of
you,
it.
Todd, what were you gonna say?
I was just saying that I had to do some samples for GI Joe because I knew an editor over there, and I said, "Hey, we're gonna have some space here where they need a fill-in artist to help." I think it was Netho Diaz or somebody, and so I did some samples, and they had a character. The new Snake Eyes is a girl,
Mhm.
and she has all this gear on her, and she has a different mask than he does,
Yeah.
and it only works like face on. It's really hard.
It's I remember actually.
Kyle Rayner's stupid fucking Green Lantern mask.
Oh
Yeah.
That was the one comic I got to draw at DC, and I had to draw Kyle Rayner's stupid fucking Green Lantern.
Because it's 3-dimensional, right? It comes off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
his
right.
face.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Daryl Banks. God, I hated
Yeah.
that fucking mask.
And also when they did the Green Lantern symbol that comes off of the chest,
Yeah,
I'm like,
Yeah.
it's hard enough to draw on the chest. Now I got to
Yeah.
draw
It was like a
The project- like a
it was
projection?
Iron Man's like
Yeah.
that chest piece in Iron Man, but then it had the symbol inside of it.
Yeah, it's just floating. It's just floating there. So you got to draw it from all these different angles and stuff. It's pretty crazy. Were you gonna say something, Todd?
No, they're
Yeah,
just characters that are just super hard to draw. Like even
Yeah.
like look at Cyberfrog. He has those red
Oh,
things
God.
that are coming off him on around his like
The floating
Legs.
balls, yeah.
oh my god.
Yeah, I drew Cyberfrog
attempt
one
it.
time, and yeah, there's a lot of.
But you know
takes
what,
a little
like-
time.
Yeah, in comic books, I always thought that was the artist's signature, right?
Yeah.
So like George Perez designs would always be uniquely George Perez designs. You know,
Mhm.
John Byrne would always be uniquely because that's their wheelhouse,
Chalk
right?
room.
So I always thought like somebody that's more detail oriented, like say George Perez, he's like setting this bar that no one else can
Yeah.
really achieve, right? So everybody that has to draw, a character after he does, they're just like, you son of a bitch. Like, this
Yeah.
is taking me forever to draw this costume design, And it's like to George, it's just like, it's nothing,
Well,
it's just
Well,
that's-
that kind of happened to me when I was animating Black Art, because I had to simplify a lot of lines, like, and I'm doing it on my own time. So I was like, okay, like I want to animate Black, is like a form fit, like it's a form fitting outfit. Like, okay, this is gonna be fine. And then I saw like all the harnesses and all the things you did on it. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, wait, whoa, hey, whoa, and dude, I had to simplify everything. When I showed you that, I was like, hey, is this okay? Like, you didn't even commission me, but I wanted to animate it, and
it was fantastic. I love the way you simplified, and I like some of the design elements that you brought to the suits. Just killer stuff. Yeah, I like detail, so I don't really mind it. But what I want to do is where like there's parts, just like any composition, right? There's things that you want people to look at, like there's busier stuff, and then there's like simplified stuff. So the thing is, you never want too busy. You don't want busy on busy on busy. So you got to have like parts that are open, parts that are busy, like so on and so forth. So there's rhythm to the design and things like that. So I always try to take that into consideration. But I'm going to take some of these people in the chat. As this Bordeaux, why not embrace the AI? It absolutely is not going away. Well, there are people that are going to figure it out. There are people that are going to do great stuff with it. I'm not saying they're not. So, but the thing is, it's not right for me right now. So, I do a lot more work in Photoshop. I do embrace the technology, but only as it benefits what I'm trying to do at that moment. So, like for me just to stop working the way I am and go completely AI makes absolutely no sense. And I do believe if somebody can really draw or paint or whatever, I don't think they're going to do this AI thing because I think there's going to be pride and there's going to be integrity involved unless they can somehow be more in control of the AI, because otherwise it has nothing to do with them.
We know guys like that though, Art, that use, for instance, Greg Horn, right? He uses Daz or whatever, and starts
Yeah.
there, and then does things over it, right? But you can clearly see that there's something like computer generated about it. You know, he's
Right, but it's a computer generated image that he uses basically as like one of these things, right? So he'll pose something. Look, this is my
Right.
little inker assistant right here.
Right.
So they'll work something like that out, right? And then they draw over that, right?
Yeah, the thing with using DAS, because I know that software, is that the rig is really limited, so your poses are going to be very, very stiff.
But
Yeah,
all
like
I
if
was
you-
trying to say is someone will find
Yeah.
a way. Someone will find a way to hybrid it and
Yeah.
enhance their work, and we'll either know or not know.
Okay,
Yeah,
let
but
me throw this one thing out there about AI, right? Okay, if everybody's relying on the same program, then that program sets the parameters of their creativity. You can't go beyond that because you can only
Yep.
work within those parameters. Like I've seen a lot of people do digital inks. It all looks the same. Like there's it because they're using the same programs, they're using it in the same way, all of these things, and they're not necessarily trying to copy the other artists. It's just the way the programs work. So, and they're not really trying to make it uniquely their own or putting more time or effort into it. So then you find that things become kind of sterile because the computer or the program or whatever is what sets the parameters of what you can do and what you cannot do. So then what you do is eventually everything comes out in somewhat of a homogenized way. And art does that anyways. There's the Marvel way, there's the DC way. You know what I mean? There used to be like a house style involved, but there was still a lot of individual, interpretations that went with that. But with some of these programs, like that stuff you guys were showing, you were like, oh, this looks like somebody else, like those, especially those ink ones that Bob was showing. That looks like any anime concept book I've ever seen. You know what I mean? Like the style is exactly the same, they look exactly the same, it's all the same. So there is going to be a homogenization, and I think it's going to be a lot easier with these programs than it would be if somebody was drawing it out of their own imagination.
Yeah. Well, if you guys to wrap up, man, like you guys want to like prompt your stuff and everything because we only got about 9 minutes left.
Yeah. I got some. I teased it earlier. Some black and white stuff. My computer's working pretty slow, so it might kind of jump around a little bit.
You've had it since the Stone Age, man. So
no, this is a new computer.
For you.
No, it's just a couple years old. What are you talking about, Bob?
I'm saying you're old, Art.
I know what you're saying. I'm just giving you a hard time. All right. So are you guys seeing this? So this is the black and white. This is all lettered. So I wanted to show you the progress of things. So this is zero, AI. This is what the hand can do.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks awesome.
Oh, dude, that's amazing, dude.
Very nicely colored. It really, really.
Yeah, it pops.
Yeah, I got a good team together here. I think we all complement each other.
A guy who definitely understands cool to warm and warm to cool. He definitely gets it.
Yeah. So then, this is what I'll tell you. I wept a little bit. I kind of, my eye got a little water in it when I saw these for the first time because I didn't realize it, but there's these voices that you have for the characters and they're in your head, when you're writing this stuff, you're drawing this stuff. And then when you actually get to see the words, you don't hear the voices, but you hear the words. And to be honest, I do hear the voices when I read this stuff. And it's really cool. It is really, really cool to see, White talk, to see this police officer, speak and all this stuff. It's absolutely fantastic. This is a great journey. It would be a shame to lose out, if I did this in AI and it only took me 10 minutes to do the whole book. But, I mean, part of it is the journey for me. It's getting there. It's not the arrival. It's getting there. So I love the way these two panels work. And I like that my wife and I were able to come up with dialogue that wasn't overly written, but it just said everything about where these two characters' heads are at, you know. I can't wait for you guys to see this book,
Very cool.
to read it, to experience it. And yeah, it's just absolutely just a labor of love. I like that we were able to get the title in here on this page here. Black and White Volume 2, Man versus Machine. That was actually
cool.
Kurt, the writer, came up with that as an idea. And so I don't want to show too much, but you guys kind of get an idea of where things are going.
It looks awesome, Art.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
dude.
Who's doing your colors?
His name's Brian, and I'll be posting more later. I wanted to make sure I got all my work out of him before
Before
I'll
somebody
promote him when
steals
my
them
shit's
away.
done.
Yeah, exactly. You know, because
You
the worst
protect
thing,
you protect those guys.
yeah, because the worst
Yeah.
thing is like when they go, oh well, there's going to be a little bit of delay, and you go, why? And they go, I got a deadline on another book. It's like, oh god,
Yeah.
come on, man, that's not
You
good.
start posting too many pages, and all of a sudden he gets 3 job offers, and is like
Yeah.
not finished with your stuff yet.
Yeah. But the main thing is I wanted to show you the progress. So everybody that backed the book, you can see we are making progress. There are words now to the characters. We got a voice that's happening here, and I love the creative process. And I'm really thankful that all you guys that have supported Black and White, support everything I do, back the book, have given me this time to do what I think is the best work of my career. So I do really appreciate it. It was a blast, and it will be done. Everything will be done within probably a week, and then it will be going off to press, printing probably by the end of the month, if not sooner. And then as soon as we get those books back, we will be in fulfillment. So just know that this book will be coming your way very soon. So thanks again. So what do you got, Clint? What is this?
Maidens of Mayhem is still in demand. Actually, we just picked up a few more backers. We're at 27,400. I would love for this book to hit 30,000. That's kind of where all my books have kind of in that 30,000 range. The original Blue Bombshell actually hit 37,000, so that was kind of high watermark for me. But the amount that these books hit, it literally just helps me get the next books going that much faster and keep the ball rolling with everything. 275 backers, that's awesome. I would love to see more backers on this. I'm going to be closing this out probably right now, looking at end of February, early March. So I'll probably do a closeout show for that. Try and hit that 30,000 mark if we can. But yeah, I want to get final numbers because this book will go to print in the spring and be shipping soon. Right now, I'm shipping out the final issues of Superiors. I've been drawing all the original.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Yeah, all the original art.
What's going on? There we go. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I've been drawing all the original art. My light's too bright.
Yeah. All the time. Yeah.
But yeah, I've been about the last week. I've been doing nothing but ink and sketches to ship out the higher tier rewards for the Superiors. But that'll be all wrapped up, and then literally it's just wrapping up. The tail end of the main book for Maidens of Mayhem is finished. So it'll just be tying up the loose ends and getting the book off of the printer and then doing one final closeout for Maidens of Mayhem to get those final numbers in there. So if you haven't backed the book yet, it is in demand. Back it today, back it tomorrow. We'll do a closeout for it. Probably try and figure out if we can do one on the Pontificators here because we get a good audience on here. And wrap up Maidens of Mayhem, and then it's on to the next book this spring. It's looking at kind of January, February, March, late March, early April kind of window for launching the next book. And I'm kind of debating on what it's going to be. So stay tuned.
Whatever it's going to be sexy as all get
There's
out.
going to be boobs.
It's gonna be
There
boobs.
will
All
be
right,
boobs.
Pedro, Mr. Pedro Ang, you got anything to share, to show?
Oh, right now I'm working really hard on Camel Moon's trailer, so I can't show anything. But
I can't
Waifus
show
and Kaijus, I can't show it. But Waifus and Kaijus, the mailing list is still on. I'm on page 37 of the book,
Wow.
and please join up. Yeah, it's gonna be robots, Kaijus, and hot chicks. So I'm taking a page from Clint Helinski's book, and I'm giving you guys boobs too.
I recommend it.
Hey,
Yeah.
everything I've seen behind the scenes stuff that you've shown, absolutely fantastic. Pedro is awesome, man. His style is unique. It is one of a kind. It is not AI, and it's brilliant. So, what do you got, Mr. Todd Mel Rooney Dooney? Nothing? He's got muted. He's muted.
I got nothing.
I got nothing.
God damn it, Todd! You got to get something going, man.
Well, I am working on something, but nothing I can show.
Well, I want everybody to say some prayers. Let's get Bob feeling better.
I'll be all right.
He needs a little help. I do appreciate you coming in, my man. You know, I know you're sick. I know you're not feeling good, but you kick some major ass, and I do appreciate that. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for hanging out with us for the last 2 hours or so. I want to thank the super chatters. You guys are the best. And Pontificators is a weekly show every Wednesday at 8 Eastern Standard Time. And it's usually the same, 5 or 6 clowns that come on. Although we do get guests every once in a while, like Aaron Sparrow, to come in and clean up the place a little bit, like make it respectable. And we do appreciate that. So thanks, Aaron, for coming in. And we will see you next week on Pontificators.